When it comes to WWE, always remember the adage, never say never. Over the years, we've seen people we thought would never return to the fold end up being welcomed back with open arms, such as the likes of Jeff Jarrett, The Ultimate Warrior, Bret Hart, and countless others. Most of these performers usually find themselves back in the WWE video game series. In fact, sometimes entry into a video game can often be the thing that gets the ball rolling on an in-ring return. Despite this, there are some wrestlers who we are quite confident in saying that we will absolutely never return to the WWE or any of their video games for a variety of different reasons. That's what we're here to talk about today, so be sure to subscribe and click on that notification bell, because today we're looking at 10 wrestlers who we will never see again in a WWE video game. Number 1. Owen Hart. Sadly, Owen Hart is best remembered by many today for the tragic accident that led him to dying in a rappel stunt gone wrong at Over the Edge 1998. WWF Attitude in 1999 marked his last appearance in a WWE video game, but since then, Hart has never and likely will never appear in any WWE licensed product again, and this includes the video game series. This is ultimately down to his wife Martha Hart, who has been understandably furious towards the wrestling business as a whole, as she believed Owen's death was negligence on the WWE's part. As head of his estate, she has say on what happens to Owen's likeness, and has vowed to have nothing to do with the WWE ever again. This is why you won't commonly see DVDs or network specials on Owen, and it's something that his brother Bret has been critical of, as he believes it stops newer fans from discovering him. We're not going to argue either way on that, because it's obviously a very sensitive subject for all parties involved, but don't count on ever seeing the Rocket in a WWE video game. Number 2. Chris Benoit. Now, we really shouldn't have to explain why this one makes the list, but on the off chance if there's anyone who doesn't know, Chris Benoit was and still remains one of the most accomplished and critically acclaimed professional wrestlers of all time. Unfortunately, that legacy will forever be marred by the event of June 24th, 2007, when Benoit murdered his wife and son before taking his own life. Many people have speculated about what happened over the years. Some blamed steroid abuse and subsequent roid rage, others argued that brain injuries brought on by years of unprotected shots to the head caused what happened. The end result is still the same though. Benoit's name will never be mentioned in WWE again, and this most certainly extends to its video game division. If 2K even tried to include the Crippler in a future title, the backlash would surely be worse than that caused by WWE 2K20 and would no doubt stink the franchise once and for all. Plus, we think it would just feel weird to play as him at this point. Benoit's last appearance was in SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. Number 3. Scott Steiner. The reason his last appearance was in WWE 2K14 as a member of the NWO, and ever since then, Steiner has been very vocal about his issues with the WWE, in particular his personal animosity with heirs apparent to the company, Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. There are various shoot interviews online that detail his distaste for the pair, and with Triple H gaining more and more control of the company as time goes on, it's hard to believe he would be welcoming of a Scott Steiner return, as he doesn't appear to be as forgiving as his father-in-law when it comes to bringing people back. The genetic freak is still doing well for himself in the likes of NWA, but he might be kicking himself for his past comments at some point when he realizes the merchandising payday he'll be missing out on by not being part of any future WWE video game. But to be fair to him, he's even mentioned the royalties suck. Number 4. Cody Rhodes. The reasons for this one should be obvious too. Cody Rhodes has gone from a WWE mid-carder to the biggest competitor to the McMahon's throne since the days of WCW. With Cody being a key component in the creation of AEW, it's hard to believe that Cody would ever show up in the WWE or any of their video games again, and why would he, to be honest? Some would say AEW is currently the cream of the crop in the wrestling world, with their weekly show Dynamite being on a roll since the new year, and his bout with MJF on the AEW Revolution card was one of the best of the night. AEW also reportedly have their own video game coming out soon, so Cody will still be able to see himself in digital form, and let's be honest, it has to be a better game than the recent 2K efforts, so it might be a blessing in disguise for him. Cody's last appearance in a WWE video game was in WWE 2K16 as Stardust. Number 5. Animal from Legion of Doom. Along with his partner Hawk, Animal was part of arguably the most successful tag team in wrestling history, the Road Warriors, who also had a couple of notable runs in the WWE as the Legion of Doom. Animal has strong ties to the WWE office, as he is the brother of backstage producer and occasional on-screen performer John Laurinaitis. So why will we never see Animal in a WWE video game again? Well, the answer to that is that he was part of the class action concussion lawsuit taken out against the company recently, and anyone that was involved seems to be persona non grata with Vince McMahon as a result. Thankfully, he's already a WWE Hall of Famer, so they can't take that away from him, but he won't be showing up in the 2K series again anytime soon. His last appearance in a WWE video game was in WWE 13. Number 6. Gail Kim. Another wrestler who has been very vocal about her distaste for the WWE is women's legend Gail Kim. Kim has spoken openly about how much she hated working for the company and how poorly they treated her and the women's division as a whole during her time there. She famously quit the company in 2011 by eliminating herself from a battle royal and leaving the arena. Since then, she has never been seen on WWE television and vowed to never return, eventually sticking by her word to retire as an in-ring competitor with TNA, where she spent much of her career and was considered one of their biggest stars. It's a shame that Kim will never show up in a WWE video game again, as it would be really fun to have her fight it out with the likes of Sasha Banks or Asuka, but alas, that will forever have to remain a dream. Her last video game appearance was in SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. Number 7. Raven. Raven recently made a surprise Easter egg appearance on an episode of AEW Dynamite that have led many to speculate that he could end up being revealed as the Exalted One, the mysterious leader of the Dark Order. Whether this is true or not, it's clear that Raven has some ties to AEW now, and Vince McMahon can't be happy with that given how furious he's been with anyone who's aligned themselves with his new competitors. With this in mind, we don't imagine we'll see Raven reaping any of the benefits of being involved with WWE anytime soon, and that includes being a part of the 2K video game series. This is another shame, as it's always nice to see legends in the game so players can mix them up and see how they'll compare against current superstars, and Raven, with his unique look and hardcore style, was always a fun character to play as. We hope he's a part of AEW going forward, because we don't think we'll be seeing him in WWE again. Raven's last appearance in a WWE video game was all the way back in WWE WrestleMania 18. Number 8. DDP. Now, who doesn't love Diamond Dallas Page? By all accounts, one of the nicest and most selfless men in the wrestling business. Page is responsible for getting the lives of Jake the Snake Roberts and Scott Hall back on track, and his DDP yoga workout has helped extend the careers of the likes of current AEW World Champion Chris Jericho, a name we might be hearing later on in this list. DDP is a close family friend of the Rhodes family, and this has been reflected in his appearances on AEW television alongside Cody, even recently taking part in a tag match on an episode of Dynamite at the age of 63. If that isn't a recommendation for DDP yoga working, then we don't know what is. Page was never a top guy in WWE and never seemed to have strong political alignments, so it seems he's found a better place with AEW, and we can't imagine him ever going back to WWE now. So unfortunately, we won't get the Diamond Cutter vs RKO battle in any future WWE games. DDP's last appearance was in WWE 2K19. Number 9. Chris Jericho. Another wrestler whose last appearance was in WWE 2K19. But this was until Chris Jericho sealed his fate with the McMahons the night he showed up at All In to attack Kenny Omega. From there on, there was a direct line that led him to signing with AEW and becoming their first World Heavyweight Champion. Obviously, this is no longer the case. This was a decision that reportedly infuriated McMahon and led him to scrubbing all references from Jericho on WWE television, including removing him from the show's opening graphic. With this in mind, it's hard to imagine he'd show up in a WWE video game again, as he seems pretty committed to making AEW as big of a competitor as possible, and certainly doesn't need the financial security of returning to the promotion. Sorry folks, but you'll just have to play him in older versions of the 2K series or rely on the community creator wrestler options, because Y2J is long gone. And number 10, Muhammad Hassan. It's not hard to feel sorry for Muhammad Hassan, because none of what befell him was his fault. Hassan was brought to television in 2004, where he was portrayed as an Arab American character, criticizing the treatment of his people post 9/11. It was certainly a very emotional charged storyline, though what was at first started out as a surprisingly layered character quickly devolved in the same old foreign heel shtick we'd been seeing for years. The whole storyline climaxed in an angle where a group of masked terrorist-like men attacked The Undertaker on his behalf on an episode of SmackDown that coincidentally aired the same day as the 7/7 London attacks. The backlash was quick, and Hassan was quickly written off television soon after, never to return. He did appear in a couple of WWE games before he was gone, but given the nature of the character and the political division within the world right now, they would be mad to try and revive this character in either real life or video game form. No, this one will have to remain a cautionary tale of how things can go so wrong for someone even when they're just doing their job. But there you have it guys, 10 wrestlers we will never see again in a WWE video game. Should we do a part 2 to this because there are many more? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more video game content.